Hello everyone. It's Suzi Petrozzi here, psychologist and empowerment coach. And I want to welcome you to my first joint Facebook Live video. So I'm doing an interview with the amazing self-care queen. That's right. You've heard it right. Self-care queen and also best-selling author Pamela Zimmer. I've been keen to do this interview for quite some time, especially since my own journey of self-care and learning how to embrace radical self-care, because there seemed to be no in between, that it had to be radical. And so I want to tell you a little bit about Pamela, but before we do that, we kind of aim to go for about 20 minutes and really share some powerful insights on self-care. And as much as we're going to be talking about our own journey and as much as we work with women, we're going to be, this is for everyone. So just to tell you a little bit more about Pamela, she really had to go on this massive journey of self-care. She worked as an architect for 13 years, had her own firm, very successful, ran it successfully, and then had children and decided to stay at home and be a stay-at-home mom. And lo and behold, life took a really sharp turn and she battled postpartum depression. And it's through that journey, through that dark journey, that she had to learn how to embrace self-care and how to do self-care. And I think so many of us in today's society, with all the business that happens on the outside, we're constantly dipping in and out of that. And so we today together, this is what we want to do, is share the message of how important self-care is and where can you start to do this. So Pamela, can you just tell us a little bit about that journey and why, what you got out of that journey? What did you learn, and how are you teaching women then today? Because what you also do is you mentor busy professional women who are seeking balance, how to be their best version for themselves, their family, and their work. So tell us a bit about that and the journey that you led.
Yes. Well, first, thank you, Suzi, for doing this interview. I'm so excited. I love you. So every time we get together, it just, time goes by so fast because we just share so much. So thank you for having me. But as you mentioned with my journey, I was an architect. I was very successful, had my own firm, but always wanted to be that stay-at-home mom like my mom was. So when I made that transition and let go of my career and chose to be a stay-at-home mom and had a supportive husband, still do, I thought, great, this is life. Everything is perfect. I have everything I asked for, everything I wanted. And I just was unhappy. And, without going really deep into the postpartum depression, I battled that very severely for nearly 6 years. And that was a big chunk of my life. And the thing about the depression for me was it sort of took my normal away. I thought that just being unhappy and exhausted and miserable and withdrawn and unexcited to really do anything was just my new normal. Like that's what motherhood was. And it wasn't until sort of the fog lifted from my brain. I was on medication for almost 2 years, and I'm a proponent of you do what you need to do for you. So for me, I needed the added help of that. For others, it might not be a route that they choose. But for me, that's what allowed me to sort of think again and remember, hey, there's this woman, there's this person inside here that I think I recognize. And once I started becoming more aware of just my physical body and my emotions and recognizing what I needed to do, and then take the actions to give myself permission to do those things, in essence, self-care, that's what really propelled me through and maintains me today. So that was about almost 4 years ago when I got off of medication and just started incorporating my own work on myself into the world. And it's why I'm so passionate about women and moms and everyone just really taking a stand for themselves and giving themselves permission to do what they need to do so they can be the best for those that they're meant to serve. So,
yeah. Thank you so much for that. I mean, you know, it's really interesting. My own journey has been that you work hard, you know, coming from migrant parents and having that ethic, which has been amazing because it's helped me to achieve so much. And yet in the age that I am now and coming close to my 40s, well, hello, 40 this year, not close, like, just own it, Susie. I am.
Oh, I'm going to be 43, Susie, so you have nothing on me.
I'm right next to you, girlfriend. What I want to say is that something in me is forcing me to slow down, and there's almost no choice. That what's being said to me by way of, if you will, divine guidance, by my own wisdom, intuition, is this is not working for you anymore, not because you can't, not because you're not supposed to, but just because there's something greater, there's something different that you haven't known yet. And what I've had to surrender a lot to learn this new way is to a lot of self-care. For me, self-care has been taking a lot of quiet time for myself, yeah, going for quiet walks, having baths, having just time to, you know, do breathing, all that kind of stuff. So tell me, for you, because self-care can look different for so many people, and also it can depend which area of your life you're focusing on. Is it work? Is it family? Is it yourself? Is it finances? So many different areas. But tell me how you look at self-care and what self-care looks like for you.
Okay. Well, I feel like as I go through my own self-care journey, it broadens for me. So when I first started self-care, it was things like sleeping in or taking a nap or getting a massage, going for a walk. And today I did just get a facial. I was in Mexico for 6 days and had to slough off all the dry skin, and so I'm kind of shiny and my hair is still oily and whatever, that's okay.
Exactly. Yes, self-care.
We're talking about self-care, so this is self-care right here. But for me, when you say the radical self-care, it's really doing something every day, even if it's small. You know, it's recognizing when I need a break. It's recognizing when I've scheduled too much into my calendar, because ultimately it comes down to that balance. You know, having peace and balance in my day means that I have to do work when I do work, and family when I do family, and me when I do me, and sort of compartmentalize when I'm choosing to do what, so that I can be fully present and fully focused. And not feeling guilty to schedule a huge chunk of time in my day that's just for me. And sometimes radical self-care for me means that I have a day of nothing, and I can wake up in the morning and choose what I want to do, whether it's exercise, watch movies all day in my pajamas. Writing for me is a big piece of my self-care because that's the outlet for me. And when I was going through my postpartum depression, that's what I used to sort of get everything out so that I could process it. And that's how my book came about and everything. But for me, it's just incorporating this whole life, you know, the whole life, work, home, self balance, and making sure that you have big chunks and the little daily things, and just recognizing what it is that you need, because like you said, it's different for everyone. And it's different for me on a day-to-day basis too. You know, when like today the kids are at school, so I can write. When they're home, it's like, all right, that's a time when I just, boys, mommy needs a 2-minute timeout. So just being aware of what you need, and going for it.
And I love what you said because, and it's so important, scheduling that time, because reality is, and I know this from the work that I do with my own women, with my tribe, is that not very few women do that, to schedule time, to have that time with yourself. I mean, aside from, we'll schedule a time to have the massage or that beautician appointment, that kind of stuff, which sometimes almost becomes, particularly the beautician appointment, like something you have to do, like an obligation. But more that self-care, like self-care appointment as in a day or 5 hours or 3 hours, to chunk it like that in the way that you say it, is a must, because unless it's done in that way, we're not really committing to it, right? It's not a commitment.
No, it's a task. It's like, oh, here's my 10 minutes of self-care. I'm going to sit and read, or meditate or pray, and then check. But were you really present? And were you really intentionally spending that time on yourself and refueling yourself, which is what self-care is for. It's for filling yourself back up so that you can serve with your leftovers. And if you're not present and intentional about the time and how you experience it, not just spend it, but how you experience your time, whatever it is that you're doing, then you might as well just say you wasted that time.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It just goes back to making that commitment, making that decision. And then, like what you were saying, Pamela, is letting go of the guilt factor, like just freaking letting go of the guilt factor and just enjoying it, enjoying that time. Or, self-care sometimes, okay, maybe it's not about enjoyment, but it's about the need to refuel. Maybe it's about crying. Maybe self-care is about giving yourself the space to just release emotions. I'm so big on that. Yeah. Really big. Yeah. And I know that you understand that. You so get that. So it can take, like what you were saying, it can take so many different forms depending on who you are, depending on what you're needing right now. For me right now, today I needed to sleep in. This is what we were saying. I needed to sleep in until 8 a.m., which is pretty much unheard of, when you have little ones. But I feel so much better for it. I feel rejuvenated. I feel like, okay, I've refueled my tank. So I think that as we're talking about this, that it's, for our listeners who listens to our interviews, that you got to think about really, even if you don't know what that is, what that self-care looks like, but to schedule that time regularly, because what I've seen, and I know that this is true for you, is that sometimes what opens up in that time is not what we thought. Maybe it's writing. Maybe it's that you end up writing and that you gain some incredible insight about something in your life. Maybe it's just, walking barefoot on the grass, and as a result of that, again, you just instantly recharge. So there's so many different possibilities of that. Maybe it's just intentional laughter. I mean, I've done this with my family at dinner time, and it's just extraordinary how it shifts the energy and how infectious laughter is, to laugh. So there are so many different possibilities of that. One of the things that I want to speak to you because of your own journey and also expertise in this area is, if you can share, because you also have a Facebook page that's specifically on this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's the name of that page, by the way?
My Facebook group.
Your Facebook group.
Yep, my Facebook group. It's called Self-Care Isn't Selfish.
Okay. Awesome. Right? And can anyone join this group?
Yes, it's an open group. And it's the purpose of that group is to just support each other on our own self-care journey and share what works for others and, what you've been through, and just to come and feel good.
Yeah. And I love that you set that up with such intention. What I wanted to ask you then, because of that interaction and what you've seen from others through that group, is what kind of tips can you share with our audience on when it comes to self-care? I know you've mentioned some really important ones already, but if you could choose 3 kind of most important pieces, what would they be, Pamela?
I would say one tip that really doesn't take any extra time out of your day is to always know how you are spending your day before you go to bed that night. So today's Tuesday. Before I go to bed tonight, I will know what my day Wednesday is like, so that when I wake up Wednesday, I can automatically start visualizing a successful day, how I'm going to interact with people. I can do my prayer and my meditation about my day and focus and have intention and be present and not be anxious and wake up like, oh my gosh, I didn't remember that I had to do this or this meeting, So just knowing when you go to bed what your next day looks like is an easy tip. And then journaling is one of my favorite tools. Yeah, you got your journal there?
Yeah. I'm writing these tips, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to be blogging on this.
Right. My journal's like way over there, but it's literally a 99-cent spiral notebook from the drugstore. It doesn't have to be this beautiful gold leaf foil thing with a magnetic pen and crystals and, if that is it, then that's cool. But
that's just an excuse sometimes, I think. I'm going to find the perfect book.
The perfect journal. Yeah. So, and journaling doesn't have to be this long, drawn out thing either. It can be literally 3 things that you're grateful for. It can be, I feel happy, and then close it up and I'm done. Or I feel really pissed off and angry and annoyed right now, and close it up and be done. It can be just words or colors, or you can draw in it. It's the purpose of journaling is to get what's in here out, good, bad, and everything in between, so that you make room for something else, something bigger, something positive, something happy and full of love and abundance. So there's no right or wrong. There's no right time, wrong time. It's when you feel inspired. I have a little note thing on my phone, and sometimes I'll journal in that. You just have to do it. So that's tip number 2. And then tip number 3 is you have to schedule an appointment with yourself in your calendar and treat it like you were your own client. So whether it is the monthly massage or chiropractic appointment, or maybe it is 10 minutes of a meditation once a week, or 2 minutes. If you don't have 10 minutes or an hour, you can do 2 minutes a day and just schedule it in, but don't just run through the motions of it. Like really sit down and, okay, it's 8:30 a.m. I'm going to, from 8:31 to 8:33, I'm just going to sit and close my eyes and breathe and just notice my breath and calm myself down. But you have to do it with intention. So, yeah.
So thank you so much. I mean, you've just covered so many areas of self-care, and breath is such an important one. To start the day with breath, because it instantly connects us to who we are, to our true nature. Breath is everything. It's life force. Yeah. It's who we are, and I know this morning it's what I did, connected to breath, and something shifted. Something shifted, and I love the whole idea of journaling. I do it as well, and the ideas that open up, the emotions that I'm able to understand and process shift significantly for me. And then scheduling that time. And what I wanted to extend on that is that scheduling is also means maybe what we were saying at the beginning is saying no to some things in life. Yeah. That is saying no to some things is
when you say no to something else, you're saying yes to yourself, and you deserve to say yes to yourself,
which is self-care.
Yes.
And I know that we've gone on kind of similar parallel journeys in terms of what we're doing, in terms of our work, and I know you'd agree with this, but I've certainly let go of a lot of things that was kind of noise, things that weren't necessarily required for me to do. And as a result of that, I've been able to devote more time to self-care and do more self-care stuff. And it's extraordinary how much more opportunities open up, how much more energetic I feel, right? Would you agree with that?
Yes. Yeah. Because when you're so busy and you're here and here and here and doing all these things, your energy is bouncing around. And there's no space for anything to come in because your energy is just like, oh, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. And you're just exhausted. And even if you're not literally saying with your words that you're exhausted and you're tired and, you know, you don't have time, that's the energy that you're putting out there. So the minute you start sort of filtering that stuff away, and that's been my journey this whole first quarter of this year. I've been just sort of releasing things that, like you said, have just been noise, and they've been good things. And sometimes that's where we have to really take a close look. None of these things that I've let go of are bad things. They're volunteering things. They're service things. They're things that, you know, help others, but it's been noise for me. And so when you quiet that down, then your energy becomes more focused and open. So all those opportunities just flow right in.
Yeah. And there's something about slowing down sometimes. I know that I can do so much more of it that's almost like there's fear in it. It's like, whoa, there's too much of it. Whoa. Or this is too good, because as a society, particularly as women, we've been conditioned that we need to constantly give, and we need to constantly keep going and doing and doing and doing. And I don't think it's just this is relevant to women. This is relevant to all of us. And it's interesting, isn't it, that to experience joy, to experience enjoyment, to totally immerse yourself in that is almost like, whoa, I don't know if I'm meant to do too much of this, like what will happen? There'll be repercussions to that. Freaking nuts. It's crazy stuff, people. Like, just let go of that idea.
Stop it.
Yeah, stop it. Freaking stop it. Message to myself, message to all of us. Yeah. I know, right. Okay, so you know, nobody, I mean, we're opening this. The reason I really wanted to share this is because certainly it's something I've been going through. Pamela and I have talked about this so many times. We've been a support for each other. But I know that other women are going through this because I work with women, you work with women. I see women struggling. You just walk, you know, through the school and you see mums really struggling. There's a tense look on their face. There are these, you know, there are these lines that are starting to form, and
these here and the circles there. Yeah.
I don't want that. I mean, I'm happy to have happy lines like this.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that. It's okay, right? But I think it's so important that, so, you know, we provided this forum, we're providing we're talking about this, but at the end of the day, no one can make that decision for you, and to the degree that you let someone do that, right? Or you don't let them do that.
Right.
So maybe if you can then, Pamela, just share one kind of a message that we can finish up on, and then I'll let the audience know a little bit more about your work and where they can find you.
Yeah. So, you know, I always say that self-care isn't selfish, it's essential. And the way I define it is that it's intentional thoughts or actions that you do for your own physical, emotional, spiritual and mental health. So it's, you know, it's again encapsulating all of the aspects. It's not just the physicality of a massage. It's, like you said, it's crying. It's speaking up when you have something to say. It's giving yourself permission to spend time loving yourself and being that example for those around you. And, you know, people are going to treat you how you treat yourself. And if we want, you know, like it's the cliche, all we need is love, right? But if we walk in love for ourselves in the sense of self-care, then we're going to influence others doing the same. And it starts at home with our children, with our family, and it goes out from there. And it's just so important. It's absolutely essential and necessary. And I get really, really fired up about it. And there are so many different ways to practice self-care. You know, going back to what you said in the beginning, it is an individual thing, and what's right for me is not right for you. And that's the beauty of it, is it's uniquely individual to all of us, but it's so necessary, so necessary.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to hear that message. It's like massage for my soul.
Yeah.
So
Like a little hug on your heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Pamela. For those who want to find out more about your work, would we direct them to the Self-Care Isn't Selfish group?
Yep, they can start there. Absolutely. Again, it's an open group. They can also check out my website, PamelaZimmer.com. I have a free gift there. It's just a PDF download that's called Ditch the Mom Guilt for Good. So for any moms out there, it's just PamelaZimmer.com/free gift. But yeah, my Facebook group is a great place to start to get to know me more.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And one of the things that I just want to let our audience know is, so given the topic we've spoken about, for those of you that know, I'm running a 3-day event in the Blue Mountains over in New South Wales, Sydney, just outside of Sydney, called the Empowered Woman Live. Goes for 3 days, 26th to the 28th of May. It's an amazing experience of women coming together and really taking that time out of their life to work on what it is that they want, who it is that they want to be, and what they need to do to be able to show up that way, to truly show up as who they are, by reconnecting to themselves, which is why I take it which is why I hold it in the Blue Mountains, because for those of you that have been there, you know what a beautiful spiritual and healing place that is. We go deep, we dive deep, I guide you to release all the emotions. I take you through some powerful processes, and I guide you also then to be able to step onto an empowered platform in terms of what is it that I want? Who is it that I want to be? How do I do this, Suzi? Show me, help me. And with the support of myself and other women, it's just incredible what you can do and how you can uplift yourself and let go of the old stories of who you no longer want to be. So I'm going to put that link in the Facebook thread once we're finished, but you can find out more information on www.theempoweredwomanlive.com, and feel free to private message me via Facebook if you want to know more, if you want to connect with me, or just want to find out if that's actually the right thing for you, because it may not be, I don't know, right? But I'm happy to have that conversation with you. So Pamela, I want to thank you so much for this. I feel every time we speak, I feel like we've just, shed some layers, and I feel like I always step into another me, right? We go to the heart of the matter, and we're real. We open up, and we're quite vulnerable. I mean, we've been more vulnerable, right? But we'll leave that for another time. But I
know that I have nothing to hide. I'm an open book. So,
and for those who are interested in your book, what's the name of your book again, Pamela?
My book is called Reclaim the Joy of Motherhood: How I Defeated Postpartum Depression, and there's a link on my website under the About Me page, I think, and it's also on Amazon. So thank you.
Awesome. Okay. All right, lovely. So it's been a pleasure and an honor, and we're going to be doing this at some stage later on. I know it.
Of course.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
I'll host you next time. Yep.
Yeah. Well, let's do that. I cherish you. I cherish the work that you do and our friendship. So I look forward to reconnecting with you. For those of you that have joined us, thank you so much. Look forward to connecting with you somewhere on some kind of platform. I always love live, so make sure you reach out to me. Thanks everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day or evenings if you're over on the other side of the world. Pamela, my love to you.
Bye.
Look forward to seeing you soon. Bye. See you.